a political show. We like to talk politics and policy. So this is great because every seasoned political observer can be fooled, even me. I have to admit, when David Trone decided to run for the Senate and leave the 6th congressional seat vacant, and then I learned that the wife of former Congressman John Delaney, April McLean Delaney, was running, my assessment was she's got it in the bag. You know, John Delaney was a popular congressman. Mrs. Delaney is well regarded in political circles. And who knew that she wouldn't be the clear front runner? But even conventional wisdom from an old guy like me isn't always right. Mike, new polls indicate that the Democratic primary is wide open, especially between April Delaney and Joe Vogel. What changed?
Well, I think part of what changed was that Joe put out the poll and provided the results. So I think that was part of it. I think candidly that there have been so many people in this race that I think it is wide open. I think we've thought that for a while, as we've talked about it here. I think that Ms. Delaney is actually in probably solid shape. She actually, we'll see when the latest financial disclosures come out next week. But at this point, she's the only one that actually has any money. The only other one that had money on, or at least was going to self-fund, has since dropped out of the race. And so unless somebody has really made a move from a fundraising perspective, I still think conventional wisdom is what conventional wisdom is. The other piece I think becomes really interesting is when we have people from Montgomery County running for a seat that is a much more centrist seat. There's a tendency to take the hard left progressive Montgomery County mantra and try to apply it to the rest of the state. And I think that that's a really risky move for a Democrat trying to win that seat. And I think Congressman Trone, he saw that even in the last race, that it is a very centrist, it's a very winnable seat from both sides, and you've got to come up with a platform that can accommodate not just Montgomery County but the rest of the state.
You know, Mike, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's reported that Vogel is running ads out of Pittsburgh that service Western Maryland, calling April Delaney too moderate, calling and saying that she's friends with Tucker Carlson. Hell, that's going to get her votes out in Western Maryland. You know, Mark, I got to switch to you now. Sure. Your party has its own primary contest. How's that shaping up?
Well, it's a very active primary. There are quite a few people. Probably the two top contenders are Neil Parrott, who's run as a Republican nominee a number of times in the district, as a former delegate there, and Dan Cox, who was the Republican nominee for governor. It's interesting. Neil Parrott has kind of identified himself with Larry Hogan and is kind of gone after Dan Cox for some of the things that he had to say about Larry Hogan. It remains to be seen. I think there is a dynamic in this race that you do need a more centrist candidate. And I think we in the Republican Party are watching very carefully to see what comes out of the Democratic primary.
Well, I think that's going to be fun. Any further thoughts, Mike? I'll let you have the last word.
Stay tuned, strap in. I think it's going to be really interesting. And you've got almost half the electorate that has not made up their mind, and they've got less than a month to do so. So it's going to be really interesting to see who can break through it all and make anybody pay attention.